Hey, welcome to the Grace and the Chaos podcast, a broadcast of insights from families with special needs children. And I'm delighted to be joined today by my co-host and friend,
Thanks,
Dr.
Ryan.
Chris Sneller. We get together every now and then and have wonderful conversations with amazing people, and we get to do that again today.
Today, we have the privilege of welcoming the Masons.
Yes.
So I just want to say thank you for coming. We're really grateful. Could you tell us a little bit about yourselves, your background, how you met?
Yeah, sure. We were both born and raised in Lake Charles, Louisiana.
Okay.
All right.
That's where we grew up. A mutual childhood church friend introduced us, set us up. I went to the University of Memphis for my undergraduate. He, post-undergraduate, got a job in Memphis and got his master's there. And so that's kind of where our journey started together.
Okay, so you're both from Lake Charles, but you met in Memphis, or you already knew each
Well,
other?
our mutual friend from Lake Charles introduced us.
Okay.
Yeah, and
we got married. Then she moved to Memphis, and
Right.
then we had our son McCarthy. I guess 6 years into being married, so we're coming up on our 20th anniversary. At the end
Congratulations!
Of the month, which is wild.
20 years.
A big trip planned.
We have a trip in the fall. Yeah,
Nice,
excited about
good.
that. And then
the French Riviera.
Wow.
Yeah, that'll be
Sounds
big.
good.
It'll be a big trip. Thankful for childcare for that.
Absolutely.
And so then we moved. We had our son McCarthy in 2010, and we moved to the Houston area in 2013.
Okay.
We had our daughter Audrey, and so we have a 14-year-old and an 11-year-old, and we're just doing parent life,
All right.
as best we can, surviving.
That's awesome. I love it. So Dana and Kristen, when did you begin your special needs journey?
Yeah, we realized in the first couple years that McCarthy wasn't developing maybe on a normal schedule, right?
Mm-hmm.
What were some of the things we saw, hon?
Yeah, he wasn't making great eye contact. He had some stimming behaviors. His speech wasn't developing. So by 24 months, we had our first initial evaluation. And
2 years old.
2 years old, and then through that second year, we got an official diagnosis of autism spectrum disorder.
Which then we realized it was quite a blessing to be here in Texas because there's a lot of early intervention programs in the school system. So we were in Conroe ISD at the time. We moved to Katy a little bit after that.
Okay.
But we had some good intervention right out of the gate. And that helped us quite a bit to kind of get the answers we need. And then, of course, you had Texas Children's here. We had a lot of resources, which helped. But still a lot to come to grips with early on in life.
That's a great way to put it. Isn't it interesting how you can have some awareness of special needs before a diagnosis, but afterward it's like everywhere you look, there's this slew of information that you have to know and memorize and sign up for. And it's crazy, kind of the onslaught of how it comes at you.
Absolutely.
Okay, so from diagnosis to your reality today, walk us through a little bit what your reality is like. What are your challenges? What are your struggles? What's life like at home for you guys?
Yeah, so McCarthy is lower functioning on the spectrum, so he really can't do much independently.
Okay.
He does need someone with him at all times. So that creates a lot of challenges, obviously. It is kind of an all-hands-on-deck home, but we are very blessed to have my mom is now here. His parents are here.
Oh, great.
So
they moved here to help with McCarthy and be available?
We actually moved to Texas, honestly, to be closer to them.
Got it.
My in-laws had relocated to Texas prior to us moving here. So it's kind of a combination. We've all just ended up here.
So is it all hands on deck with everyone helping provide and care? Is that how it works?
We really do lean on our parents a lot.
Yeah.
They, we are so blessed, and we do not take that for granted.
Right.
But they are a huge part of us being able to really do anything. So
He's nonverbal, but can say small sentences like, I want chip. And I don't know if he understands what a chip, he just understands that means he's getting a chip, right? He knows what words to say that generate an action. So swing, on Sundays he's often swinging around here quite a bit. I know he's always asking his buddy to take him out to swing. And it's such a blessing to even have a church home where we can praise and being praise and worship and being community.
Yeah.
We know that that's just such a rare thing for churches to provide. So it's a great blessing to us for sure.
So let's pause right there because the church that we're recording at, Kingsland Baptist Church, we have a special needs ministry. And we've honestly, as a church, invested considerable resources in this part of our ministry. So 10% of churches in the United States actually have something for families with special needs in their churches. Could you tell us, as parents with special needs kids, McCarthy, what is that like being at a church that McCarthy has good care and is well loved during the worship service and at other times when you come here to be at the church?
Yeah, I mean, it's such a blessing. I mean, definitely makes us emotional at times just thinking about it, especially because the people that serve in that ministry are servants. Yes, there are a couple paid staff that are involved, but largely the ability for us to be in worship together is people volunteering their Sundays to sit with a child with special needs, which is not always the easiest thing to do. And many times it could be a deacon or a friend of mine who texts, "Hey, I had a great time with McCarthy today," and it just warms my heart that they even take the time to serve. I'm in there occasionally in another classroom because I just feel the need to give back as well and give another parent the same experience I receive at times. And Kristen also serves in the children's ministry as well. So we know how special it is, and we want to give back as well.
Well, I think it's important also to say, I'm sure that some are going to listen to this and say, well, I wish my church would do something. A lot of churches don't know how to get started. It seems overwhelming. Listen, it doesn't matter where you're hearing this or what church you're a part of. If they call Kingsland, we would love to share our story. I know that I speak for the leadership in the special needs ministry when I say that they love sitting down and inviting others to look over our shoulder and do it. We are so blessed with the people that God has brought here to lead that ministry. And I'm not speaking as pastor, I'm speaking as dad when I talk about that because I get to reap the benefits all the time.
Kristen, as a mom, when you step into Kingsland, into the campus, how do you feel knowing that McCarthy will be well loved and well taken care of? How does that impact you as a mom?
Yeah, it's hard to even put into words. Like we mentioned before, the first part of our marriage, we were in Memphis, Tennessee. Then we moved to the Woodlands before moving to the Katy area. We've been in a lot of churches. We've, prior to finding Kingsland as our home church, we visited many churches. What we have here with a special needs ministry is not everywhere. It is hard to find. So to have a place where we know that we can trust people with McCarthy. I mean, he can't always tell you what's wrong. So it's hard as a mom to just trust your child who can't speak for themselves to anyone. And we haven't trusted him with a lot of people because we have our parents available. Like we don't have to hire, outside babysitters or things like that. We've been very fortunate to have that help. But coming to Kingsland, he's so happy.
I love to hear that. He just loves being here.
He enjoys his time in that room.
How does he express that happiness?
I mean, he smiles, he laughs, he loves to swing. The swing is the big thing here. So so that makes him really happy.
It's like Gary Chapman's love languages, the 5 love languages, swinging.
Yeah.
Love language is swinging.
It is.
There you go. I like that. Well, just moving more personally to your own journey, when you think about some of the lessons that you learned through the years as special needs family, is there a big lesson that you've learned that kind of rises above the others that you'd pass along to another family?
Well, I think early days, it's all about how you're responding to have this new reality of dealing with a special need in your home, right? You have, especially for it to be our first son and have the realization, wow, he didn't get the fair shake that maybe other kids do. You can play the victim card, and we were in the church and we were believers, and you had all the things in the Bible to guide us as to how to manage those thoughts and emotions, but it's still very different when it's happening in your home. And why me, and what did we do wrong that led to that? So kind of changing that perspective, I think, from why me to thank goodness it is us, because we know we're able to lead and love on McCarthy, in the way he's meant to be led and loved on and taken care of. So it took us a while to change that perspective, but knowing that, God is teaching you through all the experiences in your life. And I can say that so much of what we've done and what we've been motivated to do has been because McCarthy is in our family, and he's provided us so much motivation and passion and his smile and laugh, it definitely makes our day. So just taking the time to hurt, because hurt is going to happen when you have something like this in your life, and there are days that are very hard and tears and that still happens. But as a net, he's very much a positive for us, because he brings us so much perspective and love, and so I think just getting your perspective right. Good. Really, at the end of the day.
What you're saying is you're asking God, why us? And you're wrestling with that question. And God responds with a smile and says, because I knew you could love McCarthy well.
Absolutely.
And that profound shift might be easy to say, but to live that out, that's incredibly hard.
Or to paraphrase, could we say that your lesson is to move from the why questions to the what questions, maybe?
Right.
And we all have to.
100%.
Because the why questions can make you kind of crazy. But if we can say, okay, what is true? It sure helps.
Absolutely.
I'll give you an example just from a few weeks ago at our church. I'm the pastor, by the way, for those listening. So I'm supposed to do better, okay? But I'm just going to tell you when I had an attitude problem.
A moment, okay.
Sunday morning, we had an all generations worship day, and we do that sometimes in the Central Campus Worship Center, and we have adults. And we have children, we have students, all in the choir, hundreds of people on the stage. At 8 o'clock, they don't make the kids come in. They just have the teenagers fill up the choir loft with the adults. So I'm looking at it, and I'm just enjoying the music. And then all of a sudden, I realize Lily is 17. She should be up there.
Oh, yeah.
She would be up there. And she's never going to be up there, probably. She has no desire to be up there, she's fine. And I just started having this little pity party on the front row 10 minutes before I'm supposed to preach. And thinking, well, why can't my girl be up there? And just started spiraling, and I had to recognize, I had to stop myself and say, wait a second. Let me remember what is true. There's all kinds of wonderful blessings the Lord has given me in that regard. And I think that every special needs family probably has those moments where if you don't catch yourself, it's like falling off an emotional cliff.
It is.
And you need a different question. That's really good.
And trust me, I love that. It's just a perspective, and you have good days, you have bad days, and you're going to have them, and just knowing how to pull yourself out of them, because it's not going to be an easy ride, and we know that, but we're in for the long haul.
Kristen, Ryan's question pointed to you. What's the biggest lesson that God has taught you or is teaching you through this journey?
I mean, I think all of these things as well, so many things. With autism, I feel like I'm constantly praying the fruits of the Spirit over McCarthy. The things he struggles with is patience, self-control, gentleness, joy, all these things that feel like they're in conflict with autism. So I found that as I was praying these things to take root in his life, that I was sometimes losing my patience. I was not always finding joy in
the Spirit for him while you're not exhibiting the same fruit that you're praying for.
Exactly. So just turning that inward and making sure that I'm modeling that behavior for him, and when I'm not, what pruning needs to take place so that those those roots would take root and bear fruit in my own life.
Ryan, I mean, this is a deep question, the kind of existential but also theological question of what does spiritual growth and formation look like in the lives with our kids with special needs? Any insight into that? I mean, that's a big topic.
It really is.
But I'm going to drop it on you. Any thoughts or perspectives, Ryan, on that?
No, in fact, it's come up a lot over the last few years, people wondering about that. Even when it talks about spiritual formation of kids, should they be baptized? And as you can tell, just to answer that question, we love to baptize the special needs child or adult who wants to do that, not whose parents wanted them to do that, but who want to follow that. And I think we have this glorious freedom of knowing the grace of God.
Yes.
And, you can study the age of accountability. That's a pretty common theological idea that says, until a child has the sense of understanding, he's under the grace of God. I think we could talk about the state of accountability in that sense. So we have, there could be a 40-year-old who doesn't quite fully understand, but embraces what they can.
What they can.
I heard Vivian Schutte from Brookwood say recently, I've met people with physical disabilities and I've met people with cognitive disabilities. I've never met anybody with a spiritual disability.
That's great.
Interesting.
That's fantastic.
You come across, like sometimes I watch Lily pray or watch us pray or others worship, and it's just not an issue, for them. So we rejoice and treasure in that balance of knowing that God's hand is on them. They're fearfully and wonderfully made. So
that's beautiful.
We treasure that.
So you mentioned earlier that 20th anniversary is coming up. So I want you to think back to your first year or two of marriage. Were you in Memphis at that point?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're in Memphis, and your current self, been married almost 20 years, is just relating to your younger self or your younger married self. What would you tell your younger self about your life in reality now that you've...
Ooh.
Yeah.
I think I would tell my younger self to really be in the moment more, to be more present, and to just appreciate the moments that life provides and be ready to do it then and then all the way now. I would love to sit here and say that our 20 years has been nothing but pure joy and all the fruits of the Spirit. She went over early, right? But, we've had
Kristen laughs.
Exactly, yeah. We've had a road together, and we're going to celebrate the 20 because that road, everybody's road looks a bit different. And I think, having a strong marriage, a strong relationship, and her faith really led me, I think, to find mine. And I think I would tell myself just to really be present, be in the moment, appreciate the blessing that is our family and that is her, and do that routinely. Because life gets in the way a lot of times. We get very busy, a lot of goals, a lot of things in life that can kind of distract you from your ultimate purpose. And I would want to make sure I had less distractions in the 20 years.
So being in the moment, though, a lot of your moments are challenging moments. And so clarify for us what you mean by being in the moment, because some of those moments are not fun.
Not at all. Not at all. No, I think that's a great point. I think really just it's probably more the good times. I think that I would say where maybe you're distracted with another thing you're focused on, or maybe even little things like being in your phone too much. I love the Restore the Table initiative that Ryan's leading at the church right now. We've been very diligent about doing that because we were very bad at doing it, to be honest. And it's been really neat just to sit there, and while it can't happen every night a week for a few reasons, but when it happens, we're very thankful that it does. And I see memories being created that it makes you think, well, what did we miss over the 20 years? But in those tough moments, honestly, you're really just trying to remember to be patient, love, remember that perspective, right? It's easy to lose that perspective I mentioned earlier in the hard moments, and especially if you can't understand why McCarthy's struggling, which happens pretty often for us. So just being calm, being rooted, and maintaining our purpose at all times.
Thanks.
Really.
Krista, how about you? What would you tell your younger self or you collectively?
Probably like when you get a diagnosis of a child, whatever it is, it becomes everything. It becomes your whole life.
Yes, pretty consuming.
It does, yeah. But I would say making sure your marriage is still the priority.
Okay.
That your whole life doesn't become your child.
Yeah.
That you are still investing in your marriage and making that a priority for sure.
Wow. No offense, Dana, but she wins. I mean, that's
She does.
good. Wow.
She does.
That's so important.
She always wins.
That's great.
Yeah.
Good stuff, both of you. Thank you so much for sharing that. By the way, for those who are listening, when we talk about restoring the table, this is a challenge that you can take on. RestoreTheTable.org has all the materials you need for free. And let's be honest, not to feel sorry for ourselves, but it's harder for special needs families most often to do that. But it's worth it. And never underestimate what your kiddos are grasping by just being there with the technology out of the way and making eye contact and enjoying the fellowship of your family.
But Ryan, the cards that we have created as part of that, those are really, the questions there are simple, they're profound. And I found with my family, it's led to incredible conversations.
Awesome.
So that's a very good, simple way to start. Get cards and just learn to ask good questions.
Right. Just have a common conversation. Makes all the difference.
Yeah.
All right. Now that we have the really profound stuff out of the way, we have a little segment we like to call our lightning round.
We do.
And this was Chris's idea. I have to be honest with you. When he first
You didn't like it, did you? You didn't like it.
I don't love this. And then it turned out to be one of the great hits of this. So I give him all the credit. So what we're going to do is just go through a list of questions. And when we ask these questions, you don't have to think through anything profound, but just the first thing that comes to mind. Are you ready?
We're ready.
We good?
All right, boom.
And we want to hear from
They
both.
do. They have their game faces on, Chris.
All right,
Ladies
here we go.
first.
Best book you've read recently.
Horse, Geraldine Brooks.
Okay.
Power to Change, Craig Groeschel.
Excellent. Okay. Favorite food for your kids?
Chips.
What kind of chips? Just chips.
Any chips.
Any chips, just universally. Okay.
Loves chips. That's going to be hard to beat. Chicken, probably Chick-fil-A. Chicken, definitely a big hit.
Okay. You have a 3-hour break from work, from parenting. You just have a 3-hour break. What are you going to do for that 3 hours? How do you spend 3 hours if you have a break?
Astros game.
Oh, yeah, that's good. That's good.
Together or by yourself?
Together.
She loves the Stros are struggling right now.
They
Yeah,
are.
maybe by the time
We
people
still-
will listen
we
to this,
still
they'll be
You
back.
still are
We're
happy to
still
go.
love 'em.
We're praying for the Stros to turn around. Yeah, I definitely would say a date with her. We like walks on the beach as well. Just quiet and enjoy each other, for sure.
I like it. Okay.
Hey,
yeah.
this is-
We have togetherness both times. We've had a string of
A
people
lot
on
of
the show
moms.
where the dads or the husbands will say, "Yeah, we like to do this together," and the moms are going, "Right, I'd like to be alone for that 3 hours," and so just really encouraging. Yeah.
We like each other.
Yeah, we do.
good. I
We
like
do.
it.
Okay,
Yeah.
unique skill or fascination of your child?
Water. He loves the water. He is a very strong swimmer.
So
which-
pools, ocean, lake.
all of it.
Yeah, he
He'll-
will run into the ocean without fear or regard for human
Wow.
life. So I have to chase him occasionally.
We are grateful. He is a very strong
So he's a strong swimmer too.
He
Yeah,
is.
How about that?
He is.
And
yes.
swinging.
And
Yeah.
swinging.
Yes.
Swimming and swinging.
If you could get a swing into the water,
yeah, there you
a
go.
great day.
Fascination as well. I mean, he loves to spin things. I mean, that's kind of his main stimming behavior.
Okay.
That's not, it's okay. He can make a little bit of noise when he's doing that, but I mean, he can really just take quite a few things that you think wouldn't spin. They will spin, and he'll find a way to make them spin.
Yep,
So,
that's true.
yeah, it's always fun to watch.
I like
Okay, your favorite city in the world?
Yeah.
That's tough. There's so many great cities.
Okay.
So if it's not Houston, which is home,
All right, good
my
answer.
babies are
Okay.
here, then it's Kamuli, Uganda, which is my
Aw.
other home.
Why?
Well, we support an orphanage there, so we have babies there as well.
Wonderful.
And I'm thankful we support them, and I'm okay that they stay there.
I know. I try to bring them home, but
Suitcase, right?
We love them while we're there for sure. But no, it's an amazing thing to be a part of. That's a hard answer to be. I am a homer myself. I love a lot about Houston. We've lived other places. And I would say Houston. I got a lot of pride in Houston,
Yeah,
for
it's a
sure.
cool
That's
town.
For
great.
sure.
Love it.
I agree.
So last question. What's a future dream that you have for MacArthur?
I mean, just that he is happy.
Yeah.
That's all we want as parents
Yeah.
is for him to just be happy and healthy. He doesn't have to be anything more than that for
I
us.
love that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there are times when he's struggling with something and you're wondering, like, is it a migraine? Is it, you know, I had a family member that had a special need that had a broken hip and they didn't discover it for a long time because there was no way to communicate. So, yeah, I think just finding a way to make sure we know what he needs at all times and keep him happy and healthy is probably the main concern we have for him.
I love that. You know, what a blessing that God put you two in McCarthy's life, and what a blessing that we get to be in on this journey. It's a journey none of us signed up for, said, put me in, coach. But God has been good and faithful, and we get to do life together as well. Listen, we're so delighted that you joined us today. Thank you both for taking time to share with our audience. It's been great.
Yes, thank
and
you.
I want to thank the listeners for joining us as well. We'll be back again, but what a blessing. And I want to remind you, we have lots of resources for families, all free at empoweredhomes.org, and a growing list of resources for special needs families specifically. So check those out. Enjoy them. And Chris, man, thanks for making me sound
Absolutely.
good,
Thank
buddy.
you, Ryan.
All right,
Appreciate
it's
it.
been a blast. See you
Thanks
next
for joining
time.
us. We appreciate it.
Thank you.